Hi, friends and family. I'm reaching out to you on the morning of September 7th or something like that. and guess what? You are amazing. Thank you so much for supporting my work with the Social Justice Fund. I ended up smashing my personal fundraising goal and raised $16,000 from 25 of you. And I'm just so thrilled because the work that we are collectively supporting is so inspiring and amazing. And my group came together, the 14 of us, and we ended up raising $200,000 collectively through about 160 donors to give out $20,000 grants to 9 different organizations. And this whole process lasted about 8 months. It just culminated with our final wrap party on Wednesday night, where we got to celebrate our successes and just spend time with this amazing group of volunteers that I bonded with over this period. And a few of the grantees came to celebrate with us as well, and some donors, and we got to just hear the gratitude from the grantees themselves for us funding the work that they're doing. And I just want to share with you a couple of the highlights for me of this work on a personal level, and a little bit about a couple of the organizations that we're funding that I got to do site visits with. So, by you supporting Social Justice Fund, you're not just supporting efforts by community organizers among the communities most impacted by systems of oppression who are trying to change the world and dismantle these systems and create new ones. You're also supporting people like me, people who may have certain levels of privilege and are not the most impacted by certain systems. But this project completely opened my heart and opened my eyes to so many of the ways in which I was really frustrated with things and politics, and just feeling very overwhelmed, particularly since the election, but even before that, and feeling frustrated and not sure what I could do to really make a difference and change things in a bigger picture, transformative way. The work I do with Yoga Behind Bars is really gratifying on so many levels, and yet it isn't disrupting the system in the way that it needs to be. It is serving people who are caught up in that system in a really meaningful way. However, I've really been yearning to feel like I'm involved in something that is really thinking about the systems and changing them. And this project really empowered me to do that in a way that I may not have predicted. And what I mean by that is that it doesn't require necessarily me going out and making decisions and knowing the strategies and discerning what is the best way to approach a problem or advocate for a certain solution. SJF's Giving Project showed me that one of the most profound and helpful ways that I can show up to support these movements is actually by moving back, leaning back, and making space for other voices to emerge, other voices and people's strategies and priorities that have been constantly pressed down and limited and silenced, but to use my privilege and my resources, my community, my social capital, education, persuasiveness, all these tools and strategies that I have learned over the years to have conversations and advocate among my own community of how we can show up and support this work. And I got to have incredible conversations with so many of you and many other people who I didn't necessarily fundraise about this. And some of these have been really transformative conversations that have made me grow and learn and open my heart even healed some relationships that were really hurting through allowing us to get past our struggles that we hold as individuals or as partners or friends or family, and to really zoom out and see how we can unite and love one another by showing up for something bigger than either one of us, bigger than the both of us, and collectively moving toward this healing on a much bigger level, all these broken systems. It's just such a powerful gift and way to be in relationship with people I love. So thank you so much. Truly. I told the program manager in my project that doing this project, I feel like, has awakened empathy in me that felt really blocked. And gosh, just what an incredible gift to access that. The programs that we're funding are really diverse, and I can't go into all of them right now. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I want to highlight a couple in particular. One is dear to me because it is in Missoula, Montana, which is where I'm from. And we funded a group called Empower Montana that is bringing together people in Missoula who work at diverse organizations, but who are mostly people of color, who are gathering to form the first ever anti-racism coalition of Missoula. And they will do advocacy and training for law enforcement, for educators, and work in relationship with the Black Student Union at the University of Montana to basically bring the issues of racism in the community to the surface and into people's awareness. And I'm just so thrilled that we can invest in projects in places like Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, places that have way less access to resources and philanthropy than in Seattle, for instance. Also, we are funding work in Seattle and Portland, where there is immense creativity, and a lot of the populations that are most impacted, like people of color and homeless, people experiencing homelessness, people that are impacted by inequality, in a place like Seattle, where the city is just so quickly developing, and that people who've lived here for many, many years, generations, are getting completely priced out of the historic neighborhoods that they and their communities have lived in and built, and a big part of the cultural heritage of modern Seattle that so many people appreciate. The people are getting pushed out. And so one of the groups that we're funding is called Seattle ACE, and they're a brand new coalition, and I got to do a site visit with them. And they just are one of the most diverse, racially, age, body, ability, religion, gender presentation, gender orientation, identity. They gathered and they showed us what we're funding would basically be them being able to come together and leverage and strategize their talents, their skills, their expertise, their strategies in a way that they're currently not able to do. These are artists primarily. A stands for Artist Collective for Equitable Development. And they're people that have a really hard time accessing mainstream sort of arts funding, even though there's a lot of money in Seattle, a lot of civic initiatives that fund art projects. They tend to go toward massive things that are really only accessible and driven by people who have formal education, higher education, and really kind of know how to navigate grant applications and requirements that can be quite confusing and daunting and time-consuming for people who are working other jobs and just trying to get food on the table and may not even have a physical address, let alone a computer. And so things like the Art Fair of Seattle, which is like a multi-million-dollar venture and huge production, but is very expensive to go and access, and totally inaccessible to any of the people that were at this meeting. They have a really astute and acute analysis of gentrification and of the impact that it's having on them and their work. And they have so many amazing and brilliant ideas that I never could have dreamt of how to approach this and how to create education and awareness and how to support one another and share their tools and come together and leverage their collective needs by pooling resources and sharing certain supplies and networks and addresses even. So our work, our $20,000 will go a long way for a group that is currently operating with no money at all in coming together and being able to have meetings to further move the work that they're already doing. And I'm just really proud that the Social Justice Fund is such a unique and incredible model in that it really allows people like me to see the value of work like Seattle ACE that I never would have come into contact with or even known existed. They don't have the same platform and visibility as an organization like the one I work for, Yoga Behind Bars. They don't have a website. And so I'm just so blessed and grateful that SJF has been working for 40 years to establish and build credibility and trust among the communities most impacted by systems of oppression, and that they've formed this incredible bridge from these communities to people like me and like you, ultimately. So just thank you so much. Thank you so much for being courageous, for being generous, for loving me and loving this work in the ways that you could. So, thank you again. Lots of love.